Hello everybody, I'm Matthew from Leggat Kia. Today I'm in our showroom with the all-new 2021 Sorento, and this is the SX in this beautiful Pacific blue color, which just looks awesome on this car. So today I'm going to do a walk around of the vehicle inside and out and show you everything it has to offer. So starting at the front end of the all-new Sorento, you've got awesome, completely redesigned new styling, sort of inspired a little bit off the boxier design of the Telluride. You've got awesome LED headlights, the daytime running lights on here, and then the full 3 headlights up here, and this awesome full black grille that starts on the EX specifically. You've got a whole suite of cameras when you get all the way up to the SX. You've got this one little camera up here, and that's going to be detecting stuff in the front, and then you've got an additional camera up at the very top of the windshield, and that's going to be doing your lane keep and forward collision, all those sort of things, whereas this is more of a parking camera. And you've also got the additional parking sensors up here, so it's basically impossible to hit anything with this vehicle. So coming under the hood of the new Sorento, starting on the X-Line trim, you do have the turbocharged engine, so that is on this one, the SX, and that's a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder turbocharged GDI, making 281 horsepower and 311 pound-feet of torque. So that's plenty of power to move this vehicle, and with that you get the 3,500 pound towing capacity, so that you can throw a trailer on the back of this thing and you're all set. You have an 8-speed wet dual clutch transmission, and you've got 11.1 liters per 100 kilometers of fuel efficiency, so it's pretty good on gas for the size of the vehicle, and you get plenty of power. So coming over here to the side of the new Sorento, here on the SX version you do have these beautiful black 20-inch rims that do look great with all this sort of black styling and no silver. It's all black and then your chosen color for the vehicle. It is just an awesome look. Additionally, over here you got your side view mirrors here. These have little cameras on the bottom, so it's a blind view monitor, and it's also the additional parking cameras, so that you are able to get that 360 camera, so you can see everywhere around the vehicle from the inside, which is super handy. You do, of course, as on all Kia vehicles, you have your very convenient little button here. This unlocks and locks the vehicle when you do have the key on your person. With just a simple click, it'll unlock and lock all of the doors, depending on how you want. And there are multiple different settings for that to customize it to how you like it. These mirrors here are heated. They are power folding, so as soon as you walk up to the car with the key, they do open up for you. And when you walk away and lock it, they do shut if you have it set like that. And they are, of course, heated, and you do have your blind spot little sensor in addition to the blind spot monitor, which actually shows a camera view from that camera's there. Now coming a little bit further back in the side of the vehicle, we come to the back doors, and these back doors are very nice because they are quite wide opening. And I'll just demonstrate. So we'll unlock all the doors here. And if we open this up, it opens up very wide, all the way, not there, but all the way to here, almost 90 degrees out. So it's super easy to get in and out of the back of this vehicle, whether you're loading kids, dog, objects, whatever. It is very easy to get stuff in and out of here. So coming around to the back side of the new Sorento, first thing you notice is these awesome new taillights, these sort of vertical ones. They sort of look like Mustang taillights, not really a bad thing because the back end of the Mustang looks great. So is the back end of the Sorento. Another noticeable difference here is you don't seem to have a rear windshield wiper, and that's the windshield wiper is actually hidden underneath here, so it's completely out of sight until you use it, so you don't have that big plastic thing on the back sort of ruining the styling. You do have, inspired off of the Telluride, the new Sorento badging, so the big words right across the back, as well as your normal trim level badging. You do have your backup camera located right here, which also functions part of your parking camera suite. Now, it is, of course, a power liftgate, so multiple ways to open the liftgate. You've got the control on the key. Just hold that button, beeps a couple times to warn you, and flies open. You can stop it at whatever height you want and close it all from the key. You can also do that from the handle right here. It's kind of hidden out of sight, located underneath the badging. Just a little button here, you give that a click, and you can even stop it with that button there, or this button here as well. Lots of different ways to do it. And then in addition, you do have this smart power liftgate on this vehicle. So all you need to do is have the key on your person, and when you approach the vehicle while it is locked, it will beep a few times as a warning, and then it will open. A very handy feature, and is on all Kia vehicles with a smart liftgate. So while we're here in the back, let's talk about cargo space. In the Sorento, you have an absolute ton of it. Now, right now I've got it oriented with every single one of the seats up, so all 7 passengers could be sitting in this point, and you've got about 357 liters of cargo space in this little area back here. But as soon as you start knocking down seats, it starts becoming a lot of cargo space. So if we easily just knock down the 2 back seats here, which of course you can do a split if you don't need both of them down, easy by just pulling on the cord, and they fall right down, very easy. You do all of a sudden go up all the way to 1,274 liters of cargo space by just knocking down those 2 seats. And you do of course have a little storage cubby under there as well. Now, very easily, you can knock down the next set of seats. There's this buttons located right here on the side, and by clicking those, the seats in there will go down. By knocking those 2 seats down, you go all the way up to 2,139 liters of cargo space with all the seats down and then 2 passengers. So here in the second row, in the SX, you do have the captain's chairs. These are here in the X-line and above trim, so you do have the 2 separated seats here in the second row. You've got a ton of space with this seat orientation. There's a ton of space here, very comfortable seats. These seats are almost as comfortable as the front seats. You do have the beautiful Napa leather in the SX trim, and these ones are heated, both of the second row seats here. And you do have a whole bunch of USB ports. Interesting fact about this vehicle is there is more USB ports in this car than that you can fit passengers legally. You do have one in the back of each of these front chairs, easily accessed if you were to be mounting something on the back of these seats, or even in your lap, the cable wouldn't be in the way. And you additionally do have one down here on the back of the center console, as well as a full house style outlet and an old-fashioned car plug, the circle one that used to be cigarette lighters. So now, of course, you have the good old-fashioned on any 7-passenger car is how easy is it to get into the very back seats. Now, for reference, I'm about 5'10", but I'm a pretty skinny guy, so it isn't usually too hard for me to get into these back seats. But on the Sorento, it is quite easy. There's just a button here on the bottom of the seat. There's also one at the very top of the seat. Both do the same function. By clicking them, the seat folds down, slides forward, and allows a decent gap to crawl into the back. Now, if I'm able to just pop back here, relatively easy for me, and slide this seat up, I do. It is quite hard to see me back here, but I do have a pretty decent amount of space. For getting out, just pressing the button there, slide the seat forward, and I'm able to crawl out. So now here we are, and obviously probably the most important part of the vehicle, the front seats. Now we do have these beautiful quilted leather seats here, awesome looking stitching and design they've done on these seats, and they have this sort of checkered pattern that are here on the seats located all throughout the interior of this vehicle, a very interesting design. Now here also on the SX Sorento, but starting on the EX Plus, you do have the panoramic sunroof. Now they don't do a normal sunroof on this vehicle, it is only a panoramic, is the only option. And it does cover almost the entire roof of the vehicle is sunroof when it is open. And of course by opening the actual glass, you do open just about almost half of the roof is actually open and allows you to reach through with just simple controls here on the ceiling there. So a few additional talking points about this vehicle. Let's start here with this sort of center console area. Starting down here at the bottom, you do have a variety of controls here. You got your heated steering wheel control, you've got your parking camera and parking senseless control, and you do have the drive mode selector. And this is the same drive mode selector that is on the Telluride. So you do have a total of 7 different modes. On the left side, by just twisting this knob, you can switch between comfort, eco, sport, and smart. And then by pressing the button here in the middle, it swaps over to the terrain modes. And on the terrain modes, you have snow, mud, and sand. So here in those Canadian winters, that snow mode can definitely come in handy. Sand mode, not really sure about here in Canada, but the mud mode could also definitely be used. Then ahead of that, you do have your shifter, pretty standard affair, park, reverse, neutral, drive, and the ability to shift it into a manual mode to switch between the gears manually. Then up here, sort of on these similar bar style things that we have, they're similar to the Telluride, although there is no gap like the Telluride has. But in the same location as on the Telluride, you do have your heated and cooled seat controls. So simply flicking up for heated and down for air cooled with 3 different settings for each. Then here in the middle, you do have your little small storage area that does also have your wireless phone charger, so there's an area to slide your phone in, and then 3 separate USB chargers. There, like I said earlier, there is more USB chargers than there are people that you can fit in this vehicle. You have 3 in the front, 3 for the second row, and 2 for the back row. So many, you can have so many devices in here. Coming up a little bit further now, we do have these awesome looking vents. These are the new designed vents, and they do have a neat little design where they have the main vents up top and then these smaller vents below. They're almost like tweeters on a speaker. Then you've got your climate control system. A new thing with Kia's climate control is for their automatic climate control, you actually have 3 different settings for it, which is unusual, not on a lot of cars. So if you don't want it blowing like crazy to try and get it to the set temperature, you can just set it to 1 pip, and it's really going to take its time to get there if you're trying to have a conversation, you don't want all that fan noise. And of course you do have these little up and down dials to switch temperature. Instead of a twisty dial, they are up and down. Quite nice feeling. And then you do have these touch buttons for various settings on the climate control. Now moving up here to your infotainment screen, you do have a nice 10.25 inch touchscreen here. It's a wide screen, some interesting sort of purple styling that they have on here. And this is where you're going to be able to control your navigation, various settings, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto if you want, and of course your music. Now you do have a Bose premium sound system here in the SX, which does sound great, so you're going to want to enjoy some music on here. You also of course have touch buttons along the side, so if I click on nav, it's going to bring up our navigation menu, and we can go through an address book, specific places, stuff like that. It is a very responsive touch screen. So let's say I wanted to go to a coffee shop. We click on that, and it's going to search the navigation, and it's found at Timothy's just up the road from us. I can set that as our destination, and it's going to give me directions. Now it might be a bit confused because we're here inside a showroom and not in a parking lot, but very, very straightforward and easy to use. So coming here into the driver compartment, we do have one of the great things on the new SX Sorento is the full digital gauge cluster. So absolutely every single part of this is digital. And you do have a lot of really great information. And a neat thing with this vehicle is when you switch between those 7 different drive modes, it actually changes the way that this gauge cluster looks. So right now I have it in comfort mode, but if I swap it down to eco, it swaps up. It looks maybe a little bit more futuristic. Swapping down to sport, it switches to be more aggressive and sports car-like. And then smart switches up as well. And then if we swap it over into the terrain modes, these don't have any specific differences as they're not used quite as often. And I think definitely the sport mode one looks awesome with these interesting animations as you switch between them. You do also have a blind view monitor, which unfortunately I'm not able to show here in the showroom because I would have to have the car actually running. The engine needs to be running. But when you do turn on your turn signal, right here where the tachometer is, that circle actually turns into a camera view of your blind spot. And I'll include a picture of that here, and that will happen on both sides. You do also, of course, have this section here in the middle is right now set to show the lane keep. So if I turn on the lane keep, it does bring it sort of zoomed out and it shows the lanes. They're going to light up while they're being detected. It's going to give you visual warnings, audio warnings, everything if you were to cross over a lane. And also, of course, it does help actually steer you and keep you in those lanes above certain speeds. Really nice for highway driving. And then, of course, you do additionally have a heads-up display in the SX Sorento. Now, that is a little bit harder to see. You can't actually see it out of the car, but it does project speed, various driving information, navigation information out into the road in front of you. Pretty standard in a lot of new luxury cars, and you do have it here on the SX Sorento. And that is the all-new 2021 Sorento SX. An absolutely awesome car, great bang for your buck, definitely competes with the luxury vehicles at a much lower price tag. Absolutely stunning car. So if you do want to come and see this vehicle, take it out for a drive, you can go ahead and reach out to me directly or leave a comment below, and I'd be happy to set something up for you. If you have any questions, I'd also love to help you out. Thanks for watching.